Hey guys, welcome to the Kevin Choe podcast. And in this video, in this podcast, I do have Ethan. And now that I'm moved to New York City, he lives in Jersey. He drove down to my apartment to do film a podcast together with Jude, who just had bought my car sub too. And these two guys, they a couple months ago, they flew into Phoenix to check out some of my projects that I had going on, and we cold called together and we checked out all the projects. We went to dinner together and lunch, and it was a blast. And one of the reasons I did that is because I want to kind of give opportunities for people like you, because when I started in real estate at the age of 19, I didn't have the resources that I had, nor did I have somebody that was somewhat of a close proximity to the age that I can learn from. Because when you're 18, 19, or when you're 15 to 19, you don't want to learn from somebody that's 40 and 50, because there's a huge age gap. So it was my way of pouring back and kind of showing them around what is possible with real estate and just entrepreneurship in general. And now you guys have a podcast together. What is it? What's the podcast called?
Yeah, teens buy houses.
Teens by Houses.
Houses.
Oh
Right.
shoot. All right. How many episodes are you guys in?
Like five, maybe.
Five, yeah, like a good bit. We got to get more in there though. That's for sure.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, but here's the thing is, like, I think I posted on my Instagram for release. I have 560 posts, but then I've been
Yeah.
posting like a lot,
Mhm.
But if five, do you know the average? How many people post? How many episodes people? How many episodes of podcast people post before they quit?
How many?
It's 11.
11. So we're not quite there, like almost halfway.
Yeah. So if you get past 11, then you guys will be at the top. I think it's like 20%.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we'll try to get
Let's get past 11.
Barrier is not that high. It's you realize barrier is not that high. So
Mhm.
um, but what do so you guys have, I think you guys have questions, and Jude, you have questions, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, we can just get right into it. Like, why don't you just give us a little background about yourself, just so
Yeah.
we know who we're talking to.
Yeah. So my name is Kevin Cho. I've been an entrepreneur for the last 6 years. My first business that I started was an ATM business back in California, straight out of high school. So that was 18 and 19. I only had one machine, and then I ended up selling that business to the store owner, and then I got into the real estate. And as of last Thursday, I just did my 200th creative finance deal. I built a 27 unit portfolio, utilizing subject to and seller finance. And then I just got bought out of that business, and now I'm here in New York trying to figure. I think I have a quarter life crisis, honestly. I think trying to figure my life out at the moment.
Right.
But yeah, I have a podcast and I have a YouTube
Mhm.
video, and I used to buy a lot of houses.
Yeah. All right, so I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
That's great.
agreeing. I'm
But
agreeing.
yeah, recently you moved from Arizona and you left behind like your whole portfolio. You like sold everything, right?
Right.
Like moving in itself is a massive change, but also selling everything they had is also like a big risk.
Uh-huh.
So like everyone's like wondering, what are you gonna do in the future? What's your plan?
Yeah, so now that I've sold real estate, and it's interesting because I moved to New York, and I was gonna do real estate like virtually. But then
Mhm.
as soon as I moved here, my desire and my passion for real estate just kind of plummeted. Like it's just not there anymore. So a couple of things I'm looking at is I'm definitely interested in buying an existing business. I know
Mhm.
we were just talking about it off the camera. I'm kind of looking at like buying an assisted living facility, or some sort of business that's outside of the real estate game,
Mhm.
just to get idea of what it's like to buy a business.
Right.
So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm actively looking at buying businesses.
Oh yeah. So I mean, after you moved, like everything changed. You don't want to do real estate anymore. It's just moving on, right?
Yeah, it's not something that I'm passionate about, and
Mhm.
real estate was so good for me. I mean, I could have done anything. I could have done real estate for the rest of my life, and I lived a very comfortable life, but I
Mhm.
wanted to do something different. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. I
Yeah,
mean,
and like with that, sorry, Ethan, but like with that, why do you think like what are some of the reasons why your like passion for real estate kind of like deteriorated over that time?
Oh, dude, that's such a good question. Um, I think I think my passion for real estate just kind of plummeted down the drain because I'm not physically hanging out with people in real estate. Like in New York, There's not. I don't have a lot of real estate friends. But back home, I mean, when you guys were in Arizona, you guys saw like I was checking out all these houses. Like I run into my friends all the time. I mean, as I'm, I do deals with my friends. So like when you're hanging out with a different kind of crowd, like you will, you know, you do certain things, right? Like so, like I don't know what kind of people I don't know what kind of people you guys hang out with at school, but like most likely if you guys hang out with like the band people in high school, you most likely you're in music. If you're a football player, basketball player, you hang out with the athletes, and you guys like people like emulate, like you guys like copy each other. So um, I think that's the biggest reason why.
Mm. I mean, so after you moved away from everyone else doing real estate, you kind of lost interest of that. But now you're like looking at buying pre-existing businesses.
Yeah.
Like what motivates you to like do that?
I think it's something I've never done before, and that's what excites me, right? So it's like I remember like when you don't know what's behind the other behind this behind the other behind that certain thing, you're always curious about it, right? Like I remember when I was in high school, like there was this girl that I used to like, and I'm like I was borderline obsessed because I don't know anything about her, and no, and like I have no connections to her. But then ended up hanging I ended up like going on a couple of dates with her, and I'm like, dude, there's nothing. She's like there's nothing behind this. There's nothing like on the other side. So because I already seen what she's full of. So I've seen the real estate stuff. So I don't know. I'm still in the process of figuring myself out. Like I said, I'm having a quarter life crisis. So this is something that I'll look back in, I don't know, a few years and figure and be like that's exactly what I went through.
I mean, well, yeah, what motivates you to really just like keep going? You didn't have to sell like your portfolio back in Arizona, right?
Right.
But you did. So like what kind of made you want to do that?
I did not want to sell it, or I never had the intention of selling all my portfolio. It was more so that I my partner kind of offered to buy me out, and I said this is a perfect time to kind of get out of what I've built. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the only reason why.
All right. Mm-hmm. Do you think that was
Yeah, I mean, that's again, Ethan, I'm so sorry.
a problem?
Um,
Y'all gotta
that's
have
like
like
a pretty
you should have questions. One person ask, one person ask, like just
I know.
It's
This
been
like
a while. We're
flow
not
is
like
like
synchronizing.
honestly kind of confusing. But like Ethan, these can all be your questions. That's good. Like that's a pretty like rich backstory of like in and of itself. Like, what do you plan to do? Let's just say, like, what do you see yourself doing other than the buying like pre-owned businesses like thing? Where do you see yourself in like the next few months? Like, what's gonna occupy you?
oh shoot, that's such a good question too. I legitimately don't know the answer to that question. I legitimately don't know because like real estate is like all that I've known for my whole life. So for me to do anything, for me to think of something else to do, I don't know, like should I go? The thing is like living in New York is not cheap. So like I have to wait, I have to figure out a way to like make some sort of money, which I don't think I'll have a problem with. But like in terms of like for the next for the next couple of months, I don't think I'm gonna do anything, honestly. I'm just gonna try to learn what it's like to actually buy businesses. Like I'm join other like your mom was talking about
Yeah,
the
protege.
Protege mastermind. Yeah, like get like more acquainted with like new skills. But I don't think I'm gonna actively try to make a lot of money.
Hmm.
Yeah, that I mean, it's kind of understandable because you're like still pretty brand new to this type of environment and you're still like kind of wanting to acclimate to it.
Right.
And so I feel like that would be a pretty regular response to like this sudden shift in lifestyle where in Arizona you had, Pace Morby, you had all these big people that you saw with real estate, and now you're moving to New York where it's cold and it's cramped and the lifestyle is expensive and there's just like different people around you. So you have to like shift what you're doing. And that's I would say that's a pretty regular response
Right.
because there's you're going from country or cross country,
Exactly.
right? So That's pretty normal, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing is, I don't know how many times you guys moved, but like I came from a divorced parents, so like I moved around like just in the last 3 years I moved 4 times, but like my entire life I moved I think about 21 or 22 times. So for me, it's like yeah, like I moved more times than just like I moved like every single year. And one there's one year we moved my family moved 4 times, and I look at it and I'm like it's like my friend, I went to dinner with my friend the other day and she was kind of telling me like, dude, you're like the most adaptable person I know because like I'm switching careers. I've switched careers multiple times too, you know, for the last 6 years, switched 3 times and then moved all these times and I'm like so adaptable, like moving to New York and all these things, moving to Phoenix, Vegas, California. So um I'm s- I don't know. It's scary. It's scary, and you guys will kind of feel it too when you like when you first move out to when you guys go off to college or you guys graduate college and now you're out living on your own. Like you'd be like, oh, it is scary because now you got to pay your own bills and you gotta take care of yourself. But I think it's just I don't know. It's everything's a learning lesson. And that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my questions was gonna be, do you think you're going to move out of New York? But after hearing like the whole backstory, like moving 22 times, like that's a lot. So I think a better question would be, why would you move out of New York?
The better question would be, yeah, that's that. I would definitely move. I see myself moving out of New York in like 3, 4 years. Like this
Mhm.
place, I would be here for quite some time. Um, and I'll probably move out of New York once I feel like I want more personal space. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in Arizona, you definitely had that, but it was like really hot, right?
Yeah.
So I guess moving here for a better climate, and then I don't know, what would you be like I don't know, your place that you would live in or permanently?
Oh, for sure. I would live in South Carolina or North Carolina, one of the North or South. Because the people there are so sweet. Like I've met one of the nicest people in the Carolinas. I don't know if you're like I don't know about that.
Nah.
You have to like move into others live in other states for you to know that people in North Carolina and South Carolina are super sweet. North Carolina, South Carolina. I'll move to Austin, Texas. I would definitely move back to Phoenix if I wanted to, but like not during the summer. I would move to maybe like somewhere in Florida, like Miami would be a good place. Maybe
Hmm.
even go back to Korea. I don't know, but I moved into this apartment like 10 days ago, so I at the moment
Yeah, of
I'm like,
course.
dude, I can't move. Like physically, like I can't like move again. It's way too hard.
Did you face a lot of like struggles when moving here and just like adapting to New York? Like, forget what it's called, but like culture shocks, you know?
Um, Yes, yes. This moving here was the toughest move I've ever done, just because of number one, the cost of living. So like I spent way more money than I thought, but also I was going through a lot of family stuff at the time. Um, I don't share about it on public, but like I was going through a lot of family stuff and also like relationship, like girl stuff. I also kind of went through that, and then also having a dog that I had to move back, that I had to, you know, put on the plane and the arrangement that was really tough. And I also had just kind of sold all my business, so I was kind of like in a position where like, am I like I was this whole time that I was moving, I was asking myself if I did make the right decision or not.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hmm. That's pretty deep. I mean, for me, I'm gonna go off of similar experience here. Like when we were moving across the country from California to South Carolina a few years ago, 5 years ago, I think. I was like, do my parents really want to do this? Like, are they 100% sure? Because I like it how we have it in California. And then I moved here, and like all doubt was like reduced to a tiny little sliver. And I was like, okay, all I need to do is experience what's like going on in South Carolina. And I feel like for you, correct me if I'm wrong here, you just need to become like more acclimated to this environment and like acclimated to these people and how New York like runs because it's a huge difference. Polar opposites in
Right.
weather and people in I don't know culture. So I mean, I feel like asking those questions before you make a huge decision like moving across the country is a very, very good practice because like you want to make sure this is the right decision. This is for me. Like this is going to get me somewhere.
Right.
So I totally agree with asking those questions, asking big questions.
Yeah. Yeah. This is I so this is something that I do, and I encourage everybody that are listening to this whenever it is down the road. I've always like recorded myself of how I'm feeling at moments like this. So I would love let me see if I can pull it up. So I have this post that I made on Instagram about 2 years ago, and this is a journal that I wrote to myself when I first moved out of my parents' house to um to Phoenix on my own. And I moved out with like literally $1,200 in my pocket. I think I was 20 or 21 at that time. So like not I wasn't like too young, but I wasn't too old either. And I was writing this journal, and I just read this not like few months ago, because it was exactly 2 year mark or the 3 year mark. And hold on, let me post this. Let's see. This is a journal. I wrote it on January 18, 2022. Okay, I'll read it out. And this is just a good reflection, right? Tomorrow is a moving day for my new apartment. Yesterday I was feeling not the best, not sure, maybe because I slept too much. I was genuinely so sick, but today I feel so much better. Jesus, thank you for guiding me and healing me. God, as I move out and start my own life, I pray for your guidance that I will not fall into temptations nor get into any trouble. Let this next 14 months be a time of tremendous amount of growth and a lot of failures. I want to be under so much pressure that I'm about to break. And I said, Jesus, I am capable of doing my own life, and I welcome any challenges. And this was the day before I moved out on my own. And it and the feeling that I had when I was writing that note is exact same feeling that I had last week. It's yes, like I've done really well with business, but like apart, regardless of where you are in your career, right, or how much money you have, I feel like you kind of still feel the same way. Like the fear, you know. So but yeah, I'm still like to your point, I'm still getting acclimated to a certain extent, and um yeah,
I mean, in that, no, you said that you were really open to challenges and you wanted to be under pressure until you almost break, right?
right,
I mean, surely that has to come with a lot of doubts that
right.
you're like unsure of what's actually going to happen.
Uh-huh.
Like, in right now, what would you say is like most worrying you?
Um, what's worrying me the most is probably my finances, because even though like I've always made six figures like last 3 years, and I know for a fact it's gonna be like I know for a fact it's gonna work out. Like no matter what, I look back in 5 years, 10 years, like I'm saying as I'm telling my future self, I'm gonna tell them, hey, this is gonna work out. But at the moment, I'm like, hey, living in New York is not cheap, and the people here is it's very different pace and all those things. So like definitely as I'm transitioning into a different business, I worry like, hey, am I gonna be in a position where I can pay my bills? I know I can, but it just that worry is still kind of lingering around for sure.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, and you're still really young. To be under this amount of pressure is like, I mean, overwhelming, right?
right.
But do you think it's really been good for you? Or if you could go back in time, you would take things slower?
No, if I could go back in time, I would even go faster.
Really?
Yeah. This so I was on a so you guys don't know, but like I actually charged $300 an hour for my time, right? and I had somebody that paid me $300 to spend time with me, and this gentleman, he's out of Chicago, and I was on the Zoom with him speaking yesterday. One thing he says, he goes, "Dude, you inspire me to move out on my own." And so he was living with his parents until he was 27 or 28. And then he moved out on his own as of like the last 14 months. And he has $1 million. Like he saved up $1 million over the course of 7, 8 years living with his parents. And he goes, I'm still he wasn't scared, but he was like, I'm still hesitant to move out. And I gave him the exact same advice. I said, and I read him that exact same note that I read that I just read to you guys. That the feeling that you have, of moving out on your own into a completely different hometown, like he's in Chicago, and I told him you should move to Arizona. You grow so much, and it was it was interesting because number one, he had $1 million. I had $1,200. Um, but the stuff that you will go through when you're first moving out on your own, and you just remember when you eventually move out, like it was so scary to me. And then like because of things I went through, I eventually convinced him that he needs to move out on his own. And it was just a good um reminder that like what I'm doing right now, it's impacting other people's lives, right? Like
Yeah.
spending a day with me in Phoenix, checking out all the houses that I bought when I was 21, 22, and 23, it shows you guys that it is possible to buy houses at an early age, right? So, um, but to your question again, if I could go faster, I definitely would have went faster. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And like, do you have some like words of wisdom like for people who are younger, like our age and maybe like 16, 17 in their teens, and they are unsure of experiencing something new and they're unsure of it? Like what would you say to them?
Um, they're unsure of experiencing something new. Uh, hmm. I mean, there's so many cliche things I can say, but I don't. That's not what I want to say, and that's not the way I want to deliver it. Um, I do want to say this. If I had not moved out on my own and lived in Phoenix for the last 3 years, paying my own rent and paying my own bills, I don't and putting myself and I didn't put myself in a physical environment where I'm hanging out with all my friends that are in real estate, I don't think I would have succeeded as much as what I accomplished. Like I've accomplished what most people I've accomplished, at a relatively younger age, what most people would love to have accomplished. And like people come to me saying, hey, they're like 40s, 50s, 60s, some people are even 70s, and they're like, I want to be like you, Kevin, when I grow up. And like, dude, you're 65. Come on, like how much more can you grow up? But like knowing what I've like things all the things that I've accomplished, I would not have done it without having physically changed the environment that I'm living in. So I was the words of advice will be to change the environment that you're living in, because the people that you're spending the time with right now, whether your friends at school, they're kind of trapping you to a certain extent, right? When I was in band in high school, like I was like I kind of want to get out of this friend group, but like I don't know, like none of my friends would accept me. Like there's nobody would accept me if I leave this friend group behind. And I think that's what holds most people back is like if I don't if I do something weird, if I do something different, like oh I'm gonna be kind of kicked out of this friend group, but like um you know nothing changes if your environments don't change. So I changed my environment by being in Phoenix, did really well, and now I changed my environment to here in New York, and now I'm gonna do something else again. So, change your environment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds good. I mean, yeah, so we see you have like a lot of ambitions. You're doing a lot like moving around. And then I don't know, I guess what are you going to do like in the end game when you're so much older, when like maybe you have a family or you're retiring? Like what do you what do you plan to have by then?
Oh, dude, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't even planning on moving to New York up until 2 months ago. So, and I'm here now. So when I have a family and all that, I would not know. But this is what I do want to accomplish for the next, 20 next 10 years, right? I realize I have I touch a I resonate with a different type of crowd, right? You're 16 and Jude, you're 17.
Oh, 15.
You're 15 and Jude,
15.
you're 15 too. Okay, so you guys are 15. You guys are, oh my God, I'm 9 years older than you guys. I can't believe I'm saying this, but like but relatively speaking, like I'm in a much younger demographic than most people that are in the business, and I realize that I resonate with younger people because I'm still pretty young. I was 23 last month, right? So I this is what I want to do is I want to kind of touch the ages of between the 15 to 19 and maybe even 20 and 21 and kind of show people the path that like college is not really the route that everybody should be going after. Funny story, funny story. So I'm I come I come to New York. I'm moving in with my apartment. I'm moving into my apartment and I got an Instagram DM from this guy named Tony. Okay. And Tony he's like, "Hey, I'm also from Irvine. And I know you're moving into New York. I would love to help you move into your apartment." So like I'm like, "Oh yeah, come over." So he's helping me move. And as we're having a conversation, we are like, "Oh, you're from Irvine, all these places." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, you." So, and he's 2 years older than me, and he went to high school right next to my house, right next to my house, my high school. And we come to find out all these people. Him and I have so many mutual friends, and it was interesting because um, all the friends that he had are like they went to like elite schools, like they went to like the Ivy League schools, and some of them even went to like colleges outside of the country. And I'm hearing all these things back from Tony. He's like, "Oh, this person's doing this and this person's doing that," and it was interesting that when I thought I was behind, at 18 when I graduated high school, and now like all these people are all my friends are back from college. They're kind of lost, and now they're coming to me for advice to a certain extent. So, um, as someone that who's like I said, still in the younger generation, I do want to impact a lot of younger folk and say, you know what, like you can still do real estate at any age, and you can still be successful, and you can still buy a business even when you're 15, 16, so like I want to inspire the younger generations because there's not many people that can do that you know
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty big task. Honestly, like being able to set a goal for yourself to be like, hey, I want to inspire kids from 15 to 20, 21 years old and stand on it and not just give up. That's a huge goal. That's a huge accomplishment, in my opinion,
Right.
because when people decide, hey, I'm gonna do this, they get into it, and then when it becomes like maybe a little difficult, like most of the people quit, right? So with your like type of resilience, Kevin, people like if people were as hard as working as you, like there would be a lot of people, a lot of young people with, I mean, millions of dollars. Let's just say that there would be so many people in the workforce. They would all be super successful like you, Kevin. So honestly, it's great for the people listening to like kind of understand that you need Kevin's mindset and not to like copy it like thing for thing that he does, but just take some stuff that he does and apply it to the way you think, and there will be such a huge difference in what you do.
Thank you. Yeah.
I mean, as of now, you're really confident. You know, well, you mostly know what you're doing, and then like you're even confident for what's ahead, even though you just moved to New York, what, 10 days ago?
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, like, when you were like just getting out of high school, were you like this confident, or you felt lost? I don't know, how were you thinking at that point?
I was just naturally not a confident person in high school. Like I was always I never really excelled in sports, nor was I smart, nor was I like fit or good looking that all the girls were all over me. It was never like that. But then, I mean, you guys are a different story because you guys are way more good looking and way taller than I am. Um, you guys are definitely ahead of me. But all that aside, I think I've proven to myself that I no matter what I'll make it, whether it's real estate or whether it's buying businesses or whatever the next venture is. I like proven to myself that I have the ability to succeed in everything in anything I put my mind into. And I've seen that with my first business and my second business and like, I mean, a couple of the business that I had when I was in real estate and going into it and also moving out and putting myself under those pressures, like I've always come out on top of it. And when you stack on those accomplishments, my confidence, your confidence just kind of goes up. But yeah.
Yeah, totally. And like I said, your resilience is absolutely like outstanding. So like for you to have such a strong just like sense of where you're going, what you want to do, it's really impressive, like truly. Like I wish I had that. And I'm sure Ethan, you wish, somehow that you were like that we both had the same exact amount of resilience that Kevin has because you are a very, very, very mentally strong guy. You're a young man, actually. You're not, you're like 24.
Yeah,
You
thanks, man.
still have you still have years and years and years to go.
Yeah,
And you're living in New York. Like that's huge.
yeah,
That's absolutely massive.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just it's literally just stacking accomplishments, and then once you stack enough accomplishments, you have a certain amount of confidence to tackle on different tasks.
Yeah.
So you guys would know it's like if you I don't know, I feel like all the A students always tend to get A's because they're like, oh, I'm gonna get A in this class, you guys probably
I
know
mean,
I was never like an A student.
yeah.
I was always a B student, and I always kind of like just put myself in that identity. I'm like, oh, I'm always a B student, and guess what? I ended up getting I always got B's. But yeah,
Yeah. Like mental scope is important,
yeah,
especially with like jobs, businesses, just life in general. So I mean, yeah, I don't have any more questions. I don't have any more like little snippets to put in there. I'm kind of run dry.
What we should do is we should definitely do a follow up on maybe a month or two from now, or maybe probably like beginning of the year,
Yeah.
and you guys ask me how the year turned out for me.
Yeah, because we'd definitely be interested what you're doing. Like you
Yeah.
just moved here and I don't know, your new plans. That'd be great to hear.
What will be interesting is I buy a business and and you guys fly out and I show
Mhm.
you the business that I bought and it like live time showing you, hey, these are the things that I'm fixing in my business.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love that. That'd be awesome.
You know what? You know what? I had this thought in my mind. I'm like, I would love to take like the teenagers and show them around like one area. Like so I'll buy a business in one specific city, like San Diego, Phoenix, wherever, Texas, Dallas, Texas. And I buy businesses and I do like and I take like the younger generation and I'm like, hey guys, all right, today first in the morning we're gonna go to my this assisted living facility. Lunch, we're gonna go to my restaurant that I bought, and then we're gonna get ice creams afterwards, and then we're gonna finish off the day with another business. And as you guys are spending a whole day with me, you guys can see, oh my God, Kevin, I feel like this business you would do if you could fix this, it will run smoothly, or something along those lines. But where it's
Oh yeah.
like a tour. But that's just a vision that I have, which is the reason why I'm so excited to buy businesses because I want to show people like you guys that it's possible. And by the way, I've never bought a business, but I know for a fact I'll buy a business, or not by the end of the year, but like by quarter one of next year. So, but yeah, we'll definitely do some recap, and I'll definitely take you guys to more field projects outside of real estate.
100%. That sounds like so much fun.
Yep.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm totally down for that.
Yeah. Yeah. But and you guys have any questions? We got 2 minutes around there.
I
No,
don't I don't have anything.
Okay. Well, all right, guys, there you guys have it. This is the Kevin Cho show, and my goal and one of my big goals is to inspire the younger generations that, that whatever that they put their minds on is definitely achievable. And I would like to say that I'm an example of one of them, and I would love to keep proving to them that I am an example of one of them. So, hope you guys, if you guys are watching this video, hope this inspires you, whether you're 70, 80, or 90. And we'll do a follow-up video in January of 2025. So we'll keep you guys there. See you guys next year. Bye.